Oh, hi. Welcome to another strategy video. This one is on an expansion. It's Awesome Level 9000, an expansion to Smash Up. And this one is by Paul Peterson. This is the first time I've done a video on an expansion to a game. So what I'll do is just link to the video that I did about the base game Smash Up. And then here I'm just going to talk about the expansion Awesome Level 9000. So in this one, you get to use a new ability. It's the talent ability. They added that, and what that will do is give you a special action you can take for free on your turn. And it's a pretty good addition to the game. It's easy to forget to use it though, so just make sure whenever you have a minion out there that has a talent, that you consider using it on each of your turns. So next, I'm going to go through each of the factions. I'm going to talk about how to play that faction, good combos within that faction, and then also how to decide which factions to pair it with too. So that's what you have in store for you. So you find yourself with the Bear Cavalry faction. Are you happy or sad? You're happy. It is the best faction in the Awesome Level 9000 expansion. The idea behind it is to put a minion down, the Cub Scout, which you have 4 of them in your deck, so you're going to have plenty of those coming up. You're going to put those on a base. They will kill any minion who moves to that base and has less power than it. So any small minions, you can move them to that base, and you have plenty of cards that will move minions around, and just keep picking them off. And that's going to be super helpful, especially against a faction with small minions. So like the steampunks particularly, they have that Captain Ahab that will just move around all the time, so you can kind of put a stop to them. But yeah, any faction with small powered minions, it will be really good against them. So then there's another card, High Ground, which is kind of an improved version of this. You play this action on a base. Now any minion, no matter their size, that moves to that base will be destroyed. So now you can move the biggest minions over there and knock them out too. So that is super good. That's the core to this faction. That's how you want to use it. So who do you pair it with? You're going to want to pair it with someone who will move minions around also to help with that, because it is so important to the main strategy of this faction. And so like the pirates would be good. You could also pair it with a faction that will increase the power of your Cub Scouts, because they start out with a 3, so you're only killing 2 power minions. But if you can increase that to like a 5, now you can kill 4 power minions. And so they get much more powerful. And so that is another one. So like the dinosaurs have some augmentations that will increase the power of your minions. So a faction like that, but others do as well. And then as far as bases go, look for Tsar's Palace and Field of Honor. These two are tailored for this faction, as if it wasn't good enough on its own. Now you can get Field of Honor, put it on a base with either High Ground or your Cub Scout, start destroying minions and getting victory points for doing it. This one I would almost suggest taking it out of a game with the Bear Cavalry, because it's just so good for them specifically. But the other one is Tsar's Palace. So this one, you'd want to put your Cub Scout on this base if you see it, because this means that any minions, minions of power 2 can't be played here, which is good, because that doesn't, the Cub Scout only works on minions that are moved there. But play is not the same as move. You can put your Cub Scout there, and then you can move minions to that base. And so you just sit your Cub Scout on there and start moving small minions there left and right. And so those are the 2 bases that are going to be the best for the Bear Cavalry. The Ghost faction. These guys are interesting. They're unique in that they rely on having a small amount of cards in your hand, and they get a bonus when you get that. Their strategy is more tactical, because it really just relies on timing and playing cards at the right time, having the right number of cards in your hand to make your minions as efficient as possible and your actions as efficient as possible. It's kind of a brain teaser a little bit sometimes to play to figure out how to manage your hand in the right way and your minions so that you can play your cards at the right time. So it's a fun one to play, but a little bit challenging. I would say if you're new to Smash Up, or you're playing with someone who is new, probably discourage them from playing Ghosts because they can be frustrating if things don't happen just right, and they do rely a little bit to. Quite a bit actually on when you get certain cards, when you draw certain cards from the deck. So if you don't get the ones at the right time, it's going to be hard to win. Not impossible, but hard. So their main strategy, the bread and butter is really the spirit card. It's a three power minion, and you get to choose you get to choose a minion, discard cards equal to the power of that minion, and destroy it. So you have to discard cards, which could be kind of annoying for you if they're going to be useful later. But of course, you have so many cards that get bonuses for you having a low amount of cards in your hand. So that's good. Plus, you get to destroy someone's minion, which can be huge. So this deck is really all about playing that at the right time, so that you can take advantage of other cards like the Shady Deal that will give you a victory point if you have 2 or fewer cards in your hand, and some of the other ones that will give you power bonuses for having low cards in your hand. So that's the main strategy for Ghosts. So who do you pair it with? This is a tough question. That's I don't have an easy answer for that. It's hard to find a good faction to pair it with. Because most of the other factions will do better the more cards you can get in your hand. If you can get card advantage over your opponents, they're going to do better, and that's not the case for Ghosts. You're going to really handicap your Ghost cards if you keep a lot of cards in your hand. But the Ghost can also bring cards back from your discard. So, something like zombies can be good to have more cards to bring them back to life. Or something that will get a bonus for being brought back. Those could be good, but in general, it's tough to find a good faction to pair it with, which is why I have to call this the worst faction in the expansion. But it can be extremely powerful, really good. It's just really hard to pair it with someone, so that's why I have to say it's the worst. As far as bases go, the Dread Gazebo and the Haunted House were the 2 that were added for the Ghosts. And the Dread Gazebo isn't that great. It just means that you can't play base action on this base. But they actually have Door to the Beyond, which is a really good base action to play. So, but it's the only one they have. Most factions have at least a couple base actions that you can play. So it's okay. But the main one you want to look for is the Haunted House. And when a minion is played there, the player who played it there has to discard a card, which can be good for you, sometimes really good for you, but pretty much always bad for your opponent. So that's the best one for you to use. You should be able to take that one, take first place on that one without a problem. The Killer Plants are a pretty solid faction in the expansion. They're probably number 2, I would say, under the Bear Cavalry, and they rely on two strategies, or two really cards that you use and kind of build your game around them. One being the Water Lily. The Water Lily will let you draw a card at the beginning of your turn, so you're getting an extra card that can really give you an advantage, a card advantage over your opponents. And so you can have a lot of minions, and then use some of the actions that will let you play multiple minions at the same time to bring them out. So that's one kind of core component. The other one is the Sprout. So the Sprout is just a 2-power minion that you can put out there, and then at the beginning of your turn you can search through your deck for a 3-power or less minion to replace that one with, and so kind of helps you grow your minions a little bit. But it does mean that you're using up 2 minions to put 1 out. So it's not as good as it sounds, but it's still important to this race, this faction, the strategy that you'll use. if you can pair it with a faction that will give you a bonus for that one that's has minions that are power 3 or less, but also give you a bonus when you bring them out, or just one that's you know, one or two that are just really good, you can use the Sprout to bring them out early. So that's good. But what you'll find with this is that you'll get towards the end of your deck and you'll kind of start to sputter. Because if you, especially if you have some of these sprouts near the end, because you don't really have, you put out a sprout and you can't really search through your deck to find anything useful to bring out. Sprouts are really good early, which makes the plants, the killer plants, rely on when you draw certain cards, and so you can just kind of get a bad shuffle in your deck, and it's going to be really hard to win. You'll probably come out pretty strong, but then towards the end of the deck, you're not going to do it as well, and you just need to get through those cards so you can reshuffle as quickly as possible. So. Good and bad. They're overall still a pretty good faction, and you'd want to pair it with someone who can help you bring out the minions and even more quickly, maybe even get even more of a card advantage. So something like the robots that let you play more minions and get more cards in your hand would be extremely good. Otherwise, more of a mobilization faction like you know, the Pirates or the Bear Cavalry to move minions around. You can get out a whole bunch of small minions and then just move them around as you needed to take over the bases at the right times. So those are the ones you probably want to pair these guys with. And then as far as bases go, there are two that were put into this expansion specifically for the plants, the Greenhouse and the Secret Grove. The Greenhouse will let you, the winner of that base, search through their deck for a minion and just play it on the new base that comes out. That one actually, it's a plant base, but it's not actually very good for the plants because they can already do that with the Sprout. They don't really need a base to do that for them, so it's going to be actually better for opponents probably. But then the Secret Grove is super, super good for them because you can play an extra minion of power 2 or less on that base, and they have plenty of those, and a larger faction, a faction with larger minions, like the Bear Cavalry, won't be able to take advantage of that at all, so you can fairly easily win that base. So that's probably the best base for this faction. The steampunks are really pretty simple. They rely completely on base actions, but they have some amazing base actions. Let's just take a look at these three that are core to the steampunks. So we have the difference engine. So that will let you draw an extra card at the end of your turn. Super good for card advantage, especially if you can get that early and on a base that will stick around for quite a while. And then you have these two powerhouses. One, the Rotary Slug Thrower. Play on a base. Your minions here each have +2 power. Each have +2 power. So if you have a bunch of little minions, this will be outstanding. And then the Agromotive. So if you have a minion here, you have +5 power. So incredible. So I mean, that's really all there is to the steampunks. You have amazing base actions that will win you the game, that can possibly win you the game just by having them. And then some cards that will help bring those back to your hand once they go into your discard pile after you win the base, probably. And then you have the Captain Ahab, which actually are pretty important and very useful too. They have the talent where you can move this minion to a base that has one of your actions played on it. You're already going to have these actions out there, so you should be able to move Captain Ahab around pretty easily whenever you need to. They can maybe cap off a base or maybe put you from 3rd to 2nd or 2nd to 1st in ranking for a base. Just send them over there. So they're quite good. Just don't forget to use that talent. That talent can be used once on your turn and is easy to forget, but is also very important for you to get a little bit of an edge over your opponent. So don't forget him. As far as who to pair it with, probably a faction that will also have more base actions that you can take advantage of. Just feed that fire. That's what these guys are all about. So like the Tricksters from the base game are good. And there's some other ones that just have some just a couple good base actions that you might as well take advantage of, or those that have small minions, so you can take better use of the +2 to each minion. So that's what I recommend for who to pair it with. And then for bases, two of them were added for these guys specifically. The workshop. So when a player plays an action card on this base, that player may play an extra action. So you're going to be playing those left and right. So you'll be able to play actions whenever you want. So the wizards are also a viable pair with them if you get that base out there. But the wizards can be good too, just to make sure that you get the base actions that you need. The extremely powerful 3 base actions that are so important to this faction. Wizards will help you cycle through your deck and get to those quicker. So they're also a good one to pair with. So the other base that you want to look out for is the Inventor's Salon. So the winner may take an action from his or her discard pile and place it in his or her hand. So any of those super good base actions that you've gotten rid of, those can come right back to your hand. So that's super good for them. So that's it for Awesome Level 9000 strategies. There's a whole bunch of very useful, just general tactics for Smash Up, and I cover those in the base game strategy video, so you can check that out. But I will leave you with one which is really important, and I talked about that in this video, but I just want to kind of leave you with this really important part of how to be successful at Smash Up. And that is to recognize when you need 4, 5, or 6 victory points in order to win the game. So then you can just take a minute when that happens to plan out your path to victory. So take a look at the bonuses, the victory point bonuses you get for 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place, and what combinations you need to get up to those 15 victory points that you need to win the game. So you can do it as quickly as possible, and you don't waste time going after bases that won't really help you get there. So just take a look at, okay, that one will get me 2, and then for 2nd place, and that one will get me 3 for 1st place. So I'm just gonna make sure I get those 2, and I win. And then you can just focus all of your efforts on those 2. So that's the most important one I just wanted to talk about. But otherwise, that's it for Awesome Level 9000. Thanks for watching. Throw comments down there if you have a game you want me to cover, or click subscribe if you like these strategy videos. Otherwise, have fun smashing things up.